Hey, in this video, we are going to focus on the different notations that we can list domain and range in. We're going to focus on interval notation, inequality, and set. All right, let's start with how are these things alike. And we should be pretty comfortable with inequality. So anytime you have less than or greater than, we should know on a graph, whatever point we're at, we're going to end up with an open circle because that point is not included. And for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, that point is going to be a filled in circle. Now, in interval notation, if we have less than or greater than, things that are not included, we use parentheses. And if they are included, we use brackets. All right, so now let's see this in action. We have x is greater than 3. So on a number line, if I'm at 3, I know that I'm going to have an open circle because 3 is not included. And because x is greater than 3, I'm going to go all of this way to the right. And this arrow never stops. So what would that look like in interval notation? Well, we go from left to right with interval. And on this graph, starting from left to right, the very first thing that we see is the 3. So this 3 is not included, and it never stops, so it goes off to infinity. Then we have to think, okay, does infinity get a parentheses or bracket? You can't actually get to infinity, so it gets a parentheses. So try that on your own for x is less than or equal to 3 and guess at what it would be for interval notation. Well, hopefully just graphing it first, you know it's a solid dot and it's going to go over here to the left. And then in interval notation, well, what's happening all the way to the left? That's negative infinity. And it's stopping at 3, which is included. Finally, all real numbers, this right here, on a graph, that's just going to be everything gets shaded. And so in interval notation, that's just from negative infinity to infinity. Okay, let's actually do one more on this page. If x is less than 2 or x is greater than or equal to 5. Remember, on a graph, this would look like this, where these arrows are just going off in opposite directions. Anytime we have a jump in interval notation, we're going to use a union. So we're going to use a union anytime there's a jump, and this u will be a union. So here's how we would write it out. Negative infinity to 2, which is what we see here, union, so jump over, 5 to infinity. All right, set notation. Set notation is very similar to inequality notation. Let's look at something in inequality notation. Negative 5 is less than or equal to x less than 10. Set notation is just a more formal way to build this. The way that we do it is we use brackets. And we say, okay, this is the set of x's such that negative 5 is less than or equal to x less than 10. And then we got to close the set. All right, so the only things that we really have to remember are that this bracket here indicates a set and that this up and down line means such that. So again, this is read the set of x's such that negative 5 is less than or equal to x less than 10. All right, so let's see if we can complete a table based on that. I'll do the first one with you. This goes from 4 to infinity. 4 is not included, but then it goes off, which are all bigger than 4. So here I could say x is greater than 4. So set notation, yeah, just the same thing. And I'm sorry that with this stylus I can't really draw good sets. But the set of x is such that x is greater than 4. And on a number line, if this is 4, 4 is not included and all of the x's are greater than 4. See if you can complete the table. Pause the video and then we'll check it in a second. Pause in 3, 2, bleh. All right, pause this screen. Hopefully your completed table looks something like this, and I hope that you did it on your own. Anyways, we'll talk more about this later. Goodbye.